That's
right. President Bola Tinubu on May the 29th, 2023, took the oath of office as the 16th leader of Nigeria. Since then, he has embarked on several reforms that he says is beneficial to the growth and development of the country. One of the president's 8-point agenda is to ensure infrastructure development across the country. And in a bid to promote Nigeria's infrastructure development, President Bola Tinubu created the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Development Fund. This initiative is to facilitate effective infrastructure development across the pivotal areas of agriculture, transportation, ports, aviation, energy, healthcare, and education. So recently, the federal government inaugurated the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and other projects, a major milestone to mark the president's first year in office. Let's talk this through by speaking in the studio with a public affairs analyst, Kenny Adenuba. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, the president in Lagos, on Sunday, saying that it's my time to brag because of some of the things that, the inauguration of some projects which have been in the pipeline and bringing them to bear in just about a year. What's your reading of the president's stride on infrastructure?
I'll say that 1 year in, thank you for having me anyway. I'll say that 1 year in government has been quite interesting. Of course, when you have to look at things, I think the president happens to be someone, as I've seen him, who would not cow or run away from challenges. He faces it headlong and looks for solution. A lot of things have been thrown at him, but he remains undaunted. He keeps on going. And if we have to look at comparative analysis of government from 1999 to now, 1 year in office of each administration, I would say that the president could be very right in saying that this is he has a right to brag at this point because of what has happened. I mean, if we look at it this time around, it's more of energy and infrastructure, basically, even energy infrastructure. And in 1 year to have achieved these milestones, only those who actually may not want to see anything good in governance at this point, or who want to play politics, will say that this administration in 1 year, when it comes to infrastructure, has not tried or has not done anything. Because one of the critical things is that infrastructure development is critical to anything we want to talk about. We even want to talk about economic revival and everything. I mean, there must be infrastructure. So you don't build things without infrastructure. So in a way, I think he has done well in this 1 year. Let's give him the flowers for that. If you look at the road infrastructure and transport infrastructure, the rail system now is, what's it called? The Abuja Light Rail is being inaugurated this week. And a whole lot of other things we can see, the Apapa Tinkan, whatever. Even in the area of gas supply, we had 3 major projects that have been already concluded and inaugurated. And so we can go on and on and on and on and on. And we're talking about the Abuja-Kaduna rail surf. We're also talking about the Sokoto-Badagry. That one is taking off any moment from now. In the same way, if we have to look at the Renewed Hope housing scheme, already started in Abuja now, and already about 12 states are already laying the foundations for some of these things and what have you. And we've had, the government has said that by the end of this year, a sizable number of housing projects will have been completed and handed over. So in a way, that's just to break it down gradually. So in a way, we can say that in 1 year, this administration, with all the challenges, with all the economic challenges, the issue of paucity of funds here and there and what have you, the fiscal policy, the economic policy, the reality is that everything can be done at once. We keep saying it. We must reverse a trend, first and foremost, which he had attempted at doing and which he has done well, even when there are lapses here and there. There's no perfection anywhere. And the president is someone that I see, that actually one of the few leaders that I'll see that will come out to say, you know what, I'm prone to errors. But please point out the errors to me. I'm willing to make amendments.
All right. I agree with you on the fact that there is no perfect climb anywhere. But let's take you up on maintenance of these structures. It's a whole lot of projects.
Yes.
Yeah, but we also need to focus on the maintenance. We still have a lot of, projects that are yet to be completed.
Absolutely.
How possible is it for us to, sustain the old projects and also undergo new projects? How likely is it for us to, have a success in that?
Yeah, you see, it's all about having the will. Once you have the political will in leadership and governance, it becomes easier to deal. For example, we also have to talk to ourselves, because most of the time it's very easy for everybody to keep talking about the president or the presidency. I mean, the Third Mainland Bridge was just finished, was just resurfaced and everything. And the security agencies apprehended an individual, a citizen, who was already vandalizing. So when we're talking about maintenance, it's everybody's work. Because if we as individuals don't also maintain and see it as part of our own community effort, that we must maintain whatever has been given to us as a people, then we're going to have problems. The president will not come there to come and be policing the environment. So in a way, we all have work to do to ensure that those infrastructure that have been put in place are not damaged or vandalized in any way. And to speak to what you're talking about, that we have structures that have been old or infrastructure that have been done before, now you can see that this government is not leaving old infrastructures alone. For example, the Third Mainland, some people actually will come and say, why would the president say he wants to re-inaugurate or whatever the Third Mainland Bridge? The question is, everybody was crying at a point. The place was nearly impassable. And the government decided that, you know what, we must do something about this. We can't let it be. So it's part of the government's work. And you can take pride in the fact that, you know what, this thing was bad. And we've done it, we've brought it back to this good state. So in a way, the government is also looking at palliatives for bad roads and areas or other infrastructures, not just roads. Rail system, you can see Abuja Light Rail is back now. The government could have said, you know what, we're the one who started this. So already there was a bit of lacuna here and challenges here. So let's be looking at it. But the government said, you know what, in fact, I remember the president told the FCT minister, this is the first thing I want from you. You must deliver this before chasing other areas. So in a way, that shows that there is a sense of we must build infrastructure, we must maintain infrastructure, and whatever it is, we must understand that that is one way to make life easier for everybody when the infrastructure, particularly transport, the rail system comes back, the transport system, the roads are okay, it becomes easier. And that's the critical thing. So I say this government, I'm pushing forward when it comes to that. And the president has said it, infrastructure is critical to economic survival.
So that brings to the fore the issue of the coastal road, the coastal highway, which generated a lot of uproar. In fact, pitting the Minister of Minister of Works, with Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate, and even Atiku, saying that, come on, you guys are just destroying people's businesses and all of that, and it generated a lot of uproar. And you felt it was based on some other people's argument that it was an attack on certain ethnic group or businesses. What has been your assessment of these, especially now that they are now doing the rerouting?
Now, you see, I look at the whole thing and I tell myself, why do we actually get so pedestrian and parochial over things and talking about ethnicity here and there and what have you? I think that's part of the bane of what we're talking about. Government needs to do what it needs to do. And so when people bring ethnic coloration, I laugh. It's just ignorance and being mischievous. In the first instance, if you must look at it, there are boundaries between what is where you should build and the ocean. There are setbacks, and the federal government owns that part. But whether anybody will come to it, why couldn't Landmark then go to court against the federal government if you knew it was right? Let us say it for what it is. So now people coming out to do media trial and do a manner of social media, hypes and whatever. I think it's just playing to the gallery and playing politics. Let us say it for what it is. In the first instance, what did you buy? What did you encroach on? And the government even said, okay, we'll give you 50 meters of what we've encroached on, so that it helps you a bit. But these other ones has to go. So whichever way we're looking at it, and talking about the rerouting, it's not the first time rerouting will be done across projects across the world. When you realize that along the line is going to impact negatively on a particular aspect of the economy or whatever it may be, or people, or the community, because it's about community, it's about the people, the community, and what have you. So you must think about that. And government is saying, we're not abandoning the project. So people think that, the impression was that, oh, now they've abandoned it after they've destroyed people's properties.
Yeah, because that was what they said. They said it's a conspiracy theory. Go here first, take it down, and then already you know the routes. Because why don't you do your assignment before you begin?
No, the issue is, you see, all those conspiracy theories are just being mischievous because the reality is that is the road. But when you realize that certain cables have passed through this place, then it's only, what's it called? I would say it's only responsible of government to say, you know what, it's done everywhere. Let us say it for what it is. When you then consider the community and the greater benefit of the people to say, okay, let's reroute or let us do it this way. So in a way, I don't think that should be an issue, but people are blowing it out of proportion because of whatever interest they have.
That narrative may have been sponsored by private entities who are actually affected, but we know that the minister promised to compensate according to what the federal government is also saying. Well, let me also take you up on the fact that apart from projects, infrastructural development that we have on the national level, let's not also forget states.
I was coming there.
States, to an extent, have, if we look at Lagos, we've had a lot of infrastructural development. Many persons have, compared President Tinubu to Roosevelt's approach. They are comparing the approach to Roosevelt's approach during the Great Depression, amidst our economic issues and whatnot. What do you have to say as regards this?
Well, I would say one thing, that for a visionary person, you don't allow anything to hold you down, even in the midst of challenges and adversity. You see, the test of a man is known when he's faced with adversity. Depression comes. Economic depression will come, but what do? Biden had to do a lot of bailout as well, just like this administration did bailout for state governments with 5 or 50 billion or thereabout for each state government. Now, the issue is this: we must also, I've said it here before, let us begin to call to question our subnationals, because that's actually where growth and development of the economy is more needed, and the people actually can feel governance more. A lot of governors are not, and it pains them that everybody is talking about Abuja while they are doing whatever they want to do in their own and going to do a manner of things. So, in a way, that's why Lagos State now said, oh, the federal government shouldn't have sued us along other states. But the federal government also needs to sue Lagos State, because it's a composite thing. So that tomorrow a king does not come to the throne in Lagos, who will not do those things and say, you know what, the court, I was not joined. So everybody is together. So in a way, we have states where sometimes, a particular state, recently we had a particular state where the road to the rail station is bad. And people started complaining. And the state said, oh, it's the federal government, whatever. But how about the other stations? Are they also federal government roads? So in a way, we must call our subnationals to question and demand from them good governance. Because if at the local government level, at the state level, which are the closest to the people, we have all of that, it will be easier on the federal government. But the federal government is trying its best at the federal level. Don't forget, this is supposed to be a federation, a federalism. So in a way, for whatever it is worth, the president is pushing at the federal level to see that how do we sustain a movement and keep building whatever needs to be built for the prosperity of the nation in the midst of the depression. Because, of course, we may not officially quote it as depression, but the fact remains that we've had economic woes.
That's right.
And we're still in it. So whichever way it is, what we can ask the government is this: in the midst of all of this, please let people feel the economic impact positively, gradually as we go on, more than before.
And that's very key, because, and I guess that's the reason why some other observers believe that, rather than going back to the coastal highway, rather than pumping that huge amount of money, there are so many federal roads that are, in a deplorable state. Why don't you just go there and fix them? Because we see trailers, we see trucks, falling, and we see these impacting on the economy of the immediate locality, or especially those who are even, traversing or traveling that route. So why don't you fix all of those hinterlands? Why are you spending that huge amount of money on that?
Now, don't forget at the same time that you have over 300 roads across the nation that are already earmarked and are already going through, repairs. I mean, the State House has said that. So, and the Ministry of Works has also said that. There are over 300 roads that are going through that. So the question is, why must we while those ones are going on, and we know that this project is a major one that will impact how many states? 7 states or thereabouts.
7 to 8, yeah.
7 to 8 states. And then you want to leave it for something, just because you want to do inner roads. You are doing inner roads. You're doing roads across the state. So this one is something that has been there for us for how long? And the government is saying, you know what, let's take the bull by the horn and start bail the cat here. And I don't think that it's anything that it's out of place or out of order for the government to look at this point. Because when Third Mainland Bridge was going to be done, it wasn't started by IBB, by the way. Shagari started it. The government of President Sheikh Shagari, God bless his soul, started that. But somebody took it up one day and said, you know what, we must push this. And so this had also been in the pipeline for how many decades? And for this government to say, you know what, let's do this, it's going to impact economically on a whole lot of people as it goes on. So the president is looking forward. You see, that's the challenge with when you have a leader who lives into the future. People who are myopic or who don't see things will only look at now and not see what he's seeing. It's like when somebody says, come and buy a house, and they're just showing you the floor plan. A number of people don't buy houses on the floor plan. They want to see it painted before they can say, yes, I'm bringing my money. By that time, what happens? It's more expensive, isn't it? That's the essence of leadership and governance here.
So you could feel the joy while the president was commissioning this project. He said he can brag at this time. And also mentioned that these projects are necessary for the prosperity of the country and also national development. From your own view, let's talk about what the president aims to achieve and what he can actually gain from projects like this, in the projects like the Coastal Road and Badagry to Sokoto Road. In terms of national integrations, this road will link different states across boards. How will this help the economy?
Well, when there is good road linkages, it helps the economy because there's easier movement of goods either from the north to the south or from the south to the north, from the south to the east, from the west to the east, from the east to the north as well, or vice versa. So in a way, commuting and movement of goods and services becomes easier. And that is one way to also not just jumpstart the economy, but to also encourage and oil the economy. That's critical for us. So we must understand that. At the same time, we also must understand the place of cohesion among the people. Now, it's easier, if you have the Badagry-Sokoto Road, it's easier for people to move from one end of the nation to the other. Unlike before, when it's difficult, people will be like, you know what, I can't go. If you want to go to Ilorin or somewhere before, it's difficult. I mean, I remember those days in the 80s and 90s, to want to go to Ijebu from Lagos, it's something else. You have to go through Ikorodu, Itokin, and all those places. But now it's easier. So those are the things we're talking about. So in a way, those roads that are being done and being considered make life easier for the people and also will boost the economy. Don't forget, as the roads pass through communities, those communities get opened up. That's the reality. Those communities get opened up economically, they get opened up socially. So we're looking at socioeconomic development of a lot of areas and states and what have you. So it's just like when you have a new airport in a state. There's a way it helps the economy of that state. Yeah, so the same way. So we must understand that the president is looking beyond just now. He's looking into the future to say, as we progress in all of these things, it may take 3 years or thereabout to finish a project or the other, but over time, and that the president keeps saying it, this is for the future of our children. We will enjoy part of it, but the children will enjoy better as we go on.
All right, there's so much to talk about, but then we must thank you, at this point, Kenny Adenuga, public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for, giving us this understanding about some of the knotty issues that Nigerians are, actually debating regarding the infrastructure of the whole agenda. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So, Olamide, it's quite so much that we've talked about, all in the day. Renewable agenda, 1 year into the president's administration, and then it still has about 3 years to go. This is so much.
So I believe it's a remarkable one. The guest that we just had was able to open my eyes to see, achieving a lot of projects within just 1 year, and we still have about 3 years to go. And he also mentioned the fact that we should not be looking at now, irrespective of the economic challenges, societal challenges that we may be having, and then we have a president that looks into the future. So ahead of the 1 year in office celebration, it's actually a celebration. And so I
you think so? You think it's a celebration?
Yes, it is a celebration that we could get to this point,
right,
irrespective of some of the economic challenges that
exactly,
we have
irrespective
faced.
of some of the because some people will be like, what is there to celebrate?
We also acknowledge, it's not like we are not acknowledging that these challenges are there, but then the president, don't forget, that has asked us to be patient. It's just for you to go through it now, and then you'll be fine.
Absolutely. So let's continue this conversation with our guest in the studio, public affairs analyst, Michael Adeleye. It's good to have you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, we have just little time to talk about this, but we have to cram everything we need to say in this short time. So what's your own assessment of the president's administration's stride to ensure that infrastructure is delivered to the Nigerian people? How far have they gone?
Thank you very much and good morning. I think, in my own opinion, infrastructurally, I think the president is doing good. I've been around, especially within the southwest region, going to the northeast region. We have some tremendous, unprecedented achievement by the president, which I think is more commendable. But if I have to say one or two things, which is the other side of the achievement, we have to look into what are the people saying. What are the people saying? Is it more beneficial to people or not? It is. But again, if you have a house, you build a house, a fantastic house, and you don't have people to live in there, then there's a problem. What do I mean by this? We're talking about the high inflation that we're facing in the country at the moment. We're talking about the food security we're facing at the moment. We're talking about welfare of people. So these are the things. I mean, infrastructurally, great job. But I want to appeal to the president or to the president government to actually look into what the people are groaning about. The prices of food has really escalated, gone all beyond. I mean, we're talking about minimum wage now, or living wage, about 58,000, 48,000. That's not going to suffice. I mean, a bag of, just a little kind of rice, gari, an average Nigerian can actually afford to do that. I mean, I think they should look inwards again to actually see what can we do. Then security-wise as well, I mean, in some area, part of the country is fantastic, but going to the northern part of the country is still an occurrence on a daily basis. But give it a mark, give or take, I would say, yeah, he's doing okay, but they need to look into the welfare of the people as well.
All right, so you are of the school of thought that infrastructure may not be the needed need for Nigerians now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the president himself has awarded about 51 contracts, awarded for 3 road projects and 3 airport contracts, among others, in the space of 1 year. How possible is this for us to achieve within a year, looking at some of these challenges that you have mentioned?
Well, contract is one thing. Will that trickle down to the average Nigerian? That's what we're talking about. For me, you see, a very pivotal area where I think the government should actually invest in. We have all this palliative measure that the government is giving out. Fantastic. But the point is, if I want to advise the government, cut down on those physically given palliative 70% and pump that 70% into an area whereby it will trickle round universally in the country, which is the petrol, the PMS, the diesel. If you put a chunk of that money, for example, tell NNPC, I'm going to give this amount of money into you, bring down the price of petrol. It will go around everybody because transportation, people powering micro businesses, powering their businesses, and all that.
And that definitely will go a long way. Well, it's something that the government is actually working on. You also can attest to the fact that CNG initiative is also
which is a fantastic
We'll keep talking about this because it's an ongoing conversation, and then we'll see how all of this will definitely pan out towards the end of the administration. Public
We
affairs.
still have 3 years more to go.
Three years
So,
more.
so we've been hopeful, very hopeful, yeah.
All right, public affairs analyst Michael Adeleye, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having
Short
me.
time, but then your points are actually right on top of right on point. With that, it's a wrap on TVC Breakfast. Let's tell you that the views and reactions of all our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Up next is your view, and then with Mariah and the ladies.